That's what. Welcome, everyone. This is Kathy Hart with Friendship Force of Sacramento. We are really looking forward to having some fun today. Very, very simple painting. So the purpose is do something creative, but get together and do it with friends. So we have a truly international Zoom today. We've got British Columbia, yay! Let's hear it for Judith. And I'm not sure if anybody else is outside of the US. If you are, just everybody, welcome. We're so thrilled to have you here. And I said this earlier, but no one will be surprised there are only women on this Zoom because the men evidently didn't want to do a super cute cherry card. I don't know why, but they didn't want to. Okay, so let's talk briefly about what you should have if you're going to do this with me, which you don't have to because it's being recorded. And as soon as I get it uploaded, I post it to our YouTube channel for Friendship Force of Sacramento. And once that's done, that takes a couple hours, I'll send out an email to everybody who registered and you'll have the link because you need the link to see the YouTube video. So if you don't want to do it now, no worries, but because you'll be able to look at it later, plus it's super, super easy. Okay, so let's talk about what you need. So this was in the information, but you need cardstock. This is a very light cardstock. I've actually done this on paper. It just kind of spreads out a little bit more on paper. So if you do 8.5 by 11, all right, now I have to do this backwards from what I would think it would be. I cut the card, so this is half of 8.5 by 11, and then just fold it, and that's going to make your card, okay? Very simple. Now, if you're not doing a card, which I'm not doing a card today because I've done this card before, I took that single sheet and just cut it because I'm, of course, doing 2 pictures. Does that make sense, folks? Let me know. You can raise your hand if you know how to do that. Okay, people are using the chat and I'm not even paying attention to it. Marilyn, where are you from? Marilyn Whelan.
She might be muted.
Okay, if you want to put it in the chat, because this is a little more complicated, and I'm probably not going to focus on the chat because I'm going to be doing something, but let's go through the rest of your supplies.
Wait, I think I'm unmuted. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm from Florida, Clearwater, Florida.
Wonderful, welcome, thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh,
okay, I'm going to mute again.
Okay, great. Thank you everyone for muting because that does reduce background noise. So you also will want to use a watercolor set, and really and truly you can use this set. We're basically using 3 colors. So you have plenty of colors here in this set. You want a Sharpie or something that's a permanent marker with a fine tip because we're really doing watercolor doodles, okay? So that's what we're going to do our little doodling with. You'll need a pencil and eraser if you want to pencil this out, which I'll sketch it very, very briefly, even though they're super simple. And I did have this in the thing. I don't think I said I'm not sure if I said the pencil and eraser. You want a cup or some kind of water because you're going to clean your brush in between. And I did not put this in the email because I didn't think about it, but you might want to take a minute and grab a napkin or a paper towel because you will want to, if you've got extra water, you want to get it off your brush. So take a minute to do that. Napkin or a paper towel, and then we may end up with kind of a wet painting, and if that's the case, you'd want to use a hair dryer to blow it. I'm going to try to do the timing so it's dry, but we may need to use a hair dryer to blow it. So these are the 2 cards we're doing today. one, and these are not original designs. I saw these and I thought, oh, those are cute. I can paint that. So it's 2 cherries with the heart up at the top with their stems. And I just put the let's reconnect soon, because this one is on a card for me. And then 2 little funny little birds, 2 little bluebirds with their little antenna things crossing over saying miss you. Of course, you could say anything you want. You could say love you, thinking of you, anything you want. But that's just what I put down. Neither of the paintings that I saw had any writing on it, but we're going to put a little writing. So I'm going to put this away. I will show those when you might have a question about it. So let's start with one of your cards, and the way you want this paper is vertical, so tall. Okay, I'm getting some feedback, so I'm going to...
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Kelly, I can't understand. How about if you use chat?
Can you, Kathy, make the iPhone?
Kelly, you're breaking up. Can you use chat, because I can't understand?
Okay.
I know where Helly is. She's actually very close to fires, but she's okay. And I know her internet's not great.
So Kathy,
I have to lift it. I don't believe I can make it bigger, so I will lift it for you to see.
I think you can spotlight. You can spotlight.
I will.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
spotlight it. I'm just getting through, trying to get everybody in here. We've got someone else.
Okay.
Got lots going on here, but I will spotlight my my iPhone. Where is it? Whoops. Give me a second here. How about that? Good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, very good. Thank you for the reminder to spotlight, because I had practiced that earlier, but forgot to do it. Okay, so we are going to do, all right, you can't see that. This one first. So you can see from the finished painting, the only part we're really painting are these 2, almost like a teardrop. And again, this is a fictional bird. You can do whatever you want. Kind of a teardrop. So we're going to draw that just so you have an idea of the space. We're not going to draw the grass because that's super easy, doesn't really need to be drawn. And then we're not actually in pencil going to draw this because it's just what you do with your marker. So using a pencil, you just kind of want to get your spacing, and you see that it's above the halfway mark, but you want to leave room for the antennas and long legs. So we're just going to draw 2 kind of like teardrop. And again, it's fictional. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's imaginary. I kind of like to do them fat. I'm not really doing a great job. That doesn't even look right to me. That's why I have an eraser. But I want this one a little fatter. So go ahead and draw out 2 teardrop looking things. I kind of like that. Okay. And oh, sorry, I should have told you this. You want a very light pencil drawing. You do not want it to be a hard, dark line. So with your paints, go ahead and open it up, and you're going to take some water, and you're just going to drip water into your, let's see, this one. Well, let's go ahead and do all the colors. You're going to drip it into a red, a blue, and a purple. red, blue, purple. So you just want to basically activate your watercolor, and that's all you do is just add a smidge of water. Let me get this out. So when you're working with really basic watercolors like this, don't feel like you only can do color from here. Feel free to like take your red and put it up here. That's how you're going to blend if you want to. You don't have to. But it might be nice to say, okay, there's red. And you know what? I'm going to kind of do my own purple here on the edge here. I'm going to mix a little blue with that. Oh, that's kind of nice. I like that. So feel like you can use the top of your painting set. Okay, so what we're going to do with this one, we're going to go just basically color in with paint, and we're going to use a blue. Now you have your napkin in case you have too much water. So I'll just, okay, and that's probably a little dark for me. So I'm going to do a lighter blue, and I'm just going to go around. Again, remember this is all imaginary. And I've got a lot of water on here, probably too much. That's why we're doing this one first, so it gets a chance to dry. And do both of them. See, I didn't quite have enough color over here, so I'm just dropping in a little more color. Now, the way I'm going to know if you're ready is you're going to look up, and so I'll look at the camera. Okay, while it's still wet. So that technique is called you're painting onto dry, okay? So painting onto dry. Take go ahead and rinse your brush and then kind of dab off your extra paint and take a little bit of your purple, but you don't want it really, really wet. You just want as much color without it having been super wet. And what we're gonna do is what's called a wet into wet. So I'm going to take that and I'm just going to kind of dot it. And what's cool about watercolor is that it spreads. You don't have to add this purple, it just makes it kind of interesting. And if you want, you could put a little bit of red just to have it be a little kind of a different purple. Again, there's no right or wrong. This is art. It's all awesome. I am not really experienced. I just enjoy doing art. So you will get no argument from me. So you just want a little bit of color variation. Okay, and now let's go ahead and take, do you see at the bottom here, I've got, oh, maybe 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch. You want to take a little bit of green. And then let me show you how we're going to do that, because we did not, we didn't do any kind of marking. So with your brush, the first part we kind of did, you know, with our brush. Okay, hold on. Yeah, there we go. With our brush kind of more vertical or a little bit at an angle. This time, you want to flatten your brush like this. And we're just gonna kind of, and letting it skip actually makes it more interesting, I think. So just kind of color it in, but not 100%. Can you see that? It just gives it a little bit of interest. This one, the one that I did in the model, I just painted, but I kind of like this look a little better. Some parts are a little darker than others. That's how grass is. So have that, you know, going along your paper, just letting it come off. And because I lifted my paper, you can see my, I had quite a bit of water on there, so it all came down to the bottom. That's all right. It's fine. Okay, let me look and see if folks are looking up. Okay, looks like most everyone is. Great. Now let's put that one to the side. We want that one to dry. And we're going to work on our second one. These are cherries, if you weren't sure. And cherries aren't perfectly round. They have a little bit of a heart shape. These are actually very heart shaped. They probably should be a little more rounded. Let me see if I have another one. Yeah, here's one I just did on paper. You can see it buckles though if you've got a soft paper. That's a little rounder on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to draw that out first. Let's get your second piece of paper or your second card. All right, and the spacing, oh, this one doesn't have a, okay, so the spacing, that's a little bit below the middle because you want room for your stems and you want room for your whatever message you're going to write. So here's where you're going to draw, and they're tilted. They're not straight. They're tilted a little bit. Again, not right or wrong, but that makes sense if you look at the stems. So just draw out two almost heart shapes. Again, this is why you have an eraser if you don't like it.
Can you spot those, Kathy, so we can see them a little closer or not?
I have to lift them up. Does
Okay.
that help?
No, but it's okay.
Okay. Because I don't want those really dark, but this is the shape I'm going for. Now with this particular card, because I don't always get that heart right, I do draw the heart and the stems. Just because then I feel like, okay, I can go over it with my marker. So I start with a heart up at the top. And then I come down with my stem. So I started with the heart. And then I bring my stem down. I've done it the other way and my hearts look really stupid. Again, that's why you're doing it in pencil, because if you don't like it, you just change it. And if you have extra pencil marks, like I had something on the inside that I didn't really want, erase it before you paint, because if you paint over your pencil, you will not be able to erase it. I see very studious artists making beautiful, beautiful art. And when you're ready, look up so I have an idea. Okay, good. We're getting there. So again, I like to blend a little bit, but not too much. And if you look at this one, the good thing is the only part that really goes into the cherry is that top. So I tend to blend at the bottom because I feel like most cherries are a little darker at the bottom. You can make your cherry purple, you can make it red, you can make it pink, you can make it blue, but it's going to look more like a cherry if it's in the reddish tones. I tend to do red and then add a little purple. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with red, and I'm going to go right with my brush that's loaded with paint, and I'm just going to basically kind of outline it. And then once I've outlined it, I can pull the color down. I don't want to waste that color, and I don't want it pooling. Don't feel like you can't move your card. The card doesn't rule how you paint. You're in charge. So move your card just to make it easier for the brush, and then pull your paint. And typically, but I almost forgot here, I try to leave a spot of white. That's just a highlight. And gives it a little bit of interest. And then while this is slightly damp, I'm going to take some of my purple and put that in the bottom. And it spreads and makes all kinds of interesting, but I'm dabbing my brush in between because I don't want it super wet. So I've added some purple, and I'm just going to kind of pull that color a little bit, help it move. That's what mine looks like so far. I'm going to go ahead and do my second one now. Helly, I just read your chat, so I'm hoping that the iPhone is the big one because I've spotlighted it. And if it's not quite dark enough, feel free to go back and add just a bit more red if you want it a little darker. You just don't want too much water because we do want these to dry.
I just decided I'm going to send these to nursing homes when I'm finished.
Lovely. Lovely. When my son was young, and I taught Sunday school, I'd have all the kids make cards, and then my son and I would go deliver them. And it's just so thrilling for them, number one, to see kids, but also to get something. It's really wonderful. That's a great idea.
Well, our nursing homes are closed to visitors, and I have an elderly aunt there, and I had been sending her paintings on cards, and I also send them just to anyone at a nursing home. So that's where these are going.
Oh, nice. I think that's a beautiful idea. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so let me show you the last part we're going to paint on this cherry card. If you look, okay, let me see if I can show. Yeah, there, you can kind of see it. Right underneath the cherry, there's very, very light shadowing. You don't have to do that, but it kind of helps give it a little bit of dimension. So for you all, I think you might want to mix very, very light purple with light maybe brown or very, very light black and lots of water. So you aren't going to use very much of it. And remember how we did the grass? That's kind of how, yeah, that's about right. That's how we're going to do it. Now on mine, I just want to talk about perspective for a second, and I didn't do a great job, but I've got little bits of light coming and catching the cherries on my right top side. Therefore, I'm going to put a little shadow on the left. And it's not any real, I mean, just a little hint of color. You know, just something like that. So we've got a little something there. Okay. And then we are going to let that one dry. Well, I love the idea of giving the cards to residents in a skilled nursing home. Let me show you some of the other, uh-oh, what happened? Oh, you are kidding me. All right. My son's calling me, so it's going away. How do I get that? And sorry. Decline. Later. There we go. Okay. That goofball guy. Okay, let me just show you some of the other what I call watercolor doodles. Very, very, very simple. And I'd be happy to do kind of a floral in the future, a very simple watercolor class like we're doing today. So these are very simple roses just with a spiral going around. Here's a little simple single flower. Again, they're kind of all made up. Here's a combination, and these literally take like 2 minutes to do. The longest part is having them dry. This is a little more complicated of one, but not difficult really, and that's watercolor with some splatter. And here's another one with not quite as much ink on there, and this one has a lot more ink. So those are just some ideas if you think that might be a fun class to try to do. What I do with a lot of my paintings, whether I'm using acrylic or watercolor, is I make cards, and then when I travel on journeys, I give them as gifts. And I usually give them in packages of 4. And I always give them to my home host. I tend to do thank you cards, birthday cards, thinking of you. I think those are the most common, or blank. So I tend to give those as gifts, not only to my home host, but also to people who might dinner host or day host, I try to give something that I feel like can be used by the hostess or day host or whoever it might be. So just a suggestion, an idea of a way for you to use something like this. Let's go back to our birds. You
Can I ask you a question, Kathy? Do you have problems? How do you find envelopes for these cards?
Oh, you know what? I have a ton of envelopes. You can buy envelopes online. And then I've been making cards for years, so I literally have hundreds of envelopes. But I sometimes find them in thrift stores, or I can find them at a garage sale, but I've also bought them online.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You can also get them at like Office Depot. You can get like a box of 50 of them and just look for the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2.
Oh, that's what it is. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Good. Okay, so we're back to our birds. And if yours is not all the way dry, well, that's why you need a permanent marker. So I'm actually going to dry mine a second. It's not all the way dry. That's better. I have these wonderful ink pens that are very, very, very fine, but they are not permanent. And so in the past, I have used those on a watercolor that wasn't 100% dry, and then the dye just kind of seeps out. So it's not really a great look. Okay, so now we're just going to do the antennas, and we're going to cross them up at the top, and I see I have not left myself very much space. And then we're going to do 2 legs with little tiny, things for feet there at the bottom. That's how I did it. You can do whatever you want. But let's go ahead and do the antennas and the feet. And I'm just kind of looping at the end of the antenna thing. These birds have super long legs, don't they? Okay, now we're going to do the beaks and the wings. Now, again, it can be any way you want. I chose to have the beaks a little bit different because I don't want them like totally identical. So one is shorter than the other. So it's really a skinny triangle with a line down the middle. That's what you're doing on both of these birds. And it's, a little ways. You don't want it, of course, right up at the top. You want room for an eye. But, the majority of the bird is the belly and the back. So 2 triangles with a line down the middle. And go ahead and put in an eye just above those beaks.
Boy, I can't see him.
And then we're going to do the wings. So I start making, the outside of the wing, and then I just go in. You can do, if you want to make any kind of a design in the middle, it's fine. But that's what I did. I made kind of a U, a sideways U, and then just made smaller ones. And then the same thing over here, but I changed up the shape a little bit. Again, I just don't want them identical. You can make them.
I can't really, shit.
What was that?
I can't really see what that looks like. Can you hold it up a little closer or for the wings?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it. Okay, there we are.
Uh-huh.
Okay, how's that?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
So here I'm just making a series of kind of like sideways U's. Getting smaller and smaller. Just to give it some pattern. And then the same thing on the other side. I look kind of goofy, but that's all right. It's all beautiful. Now, when I had a friend do this class with me to see if I could do the 2 cameras and all, what she chose to do, and it looked very cute, is she outlined the bird. So if you like that look better, feel free to do that. So she just, like, you wouldn't probably go where the beak is, but she just outlined where that kind of teardrop thing is. And then whatever saying you want. I'm doing hello. Oops. It's harder than you think to get that under the camera. And then for those of you who don't do a lot with cards, just know that I have, really simple Crayola markers, and you can kind of jazz it up if you'd like, just by putting, these are really simple little dots. This happens to be a purple one that I have out, so that's what I'm going to use. You can go all the way around. That's what I did with this one. Smaller dots though.
Okay, so we can just design them ourselves.
If you had a scissors, that have the shapes, you can cut around the edge. You could put this, if you had just a single piece of paper like I do, you could have it slightly smaller than your card and use maybe a colored cardstock. I've used ribbon on cards. I've done just patterned paper behind it, lots and lots of different ideas if you wanted something a little more jazzy than this. So that is our first one. We're done. Oh, I want everybody to show what you did on the Bluebirds. When you're done, I'll know you're done because you're going to hold it up. And we're going to admire everyone's art. Oh, nice, Sandy, so cute. Very good, Holly, cute.
I have a drive-by baby shower tomorrow. I think I'll just use that.
Oh, wonderful, yes. Judith, nice. Linda, great. See, oh, great, Linda. Dee, nice. Anita, cute. See, we have so many Friendship Force artists. Wonderful. I don't think I know everybody's name. One has iPhone on it, but that's all right. Everyone did beautiful job. And if I'm the teacher, everyone gets an A. How about that?
Okay.
Let's finish up our darling little cherries. I got into a real cherry kick. I probably have 10 cherry cards. Okay, so remember we did the pencil because the heart's a little trickier. So what you're going to do now is go just trace over your heart, your stem. And if you want, you might or you might not like this. I actually went a little bit into the cherry and then just did a little line. You don't have to do that, but that is an option. So let's trace over our stems. I'm having it go over on one of them, not on the other one. And because this isn't paint, I did not perfectly go over my heart, so I'm just going to erase the pencil line that I can see. But I cannot erase the pencil under my watercolor that I can see, but that's okay. That actually is very common with watercolors and not an issue at all. So here's an example of where I did the dots on the side of the card. I think I did, yeah, 4 off of each corner. Do you like that look? Or you can go all the way around. This is smaller. Or you can just do, because your pencil, your paintbrush is probably not thin enough, but you can use a marker. Let me show you what I think I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm just going to take a little bit of red. Let's see how fine I can get it. Yeah, because I have a very nice brush and it has a super tiny point. So I'm just going to do a little bit of red. Of course, cherries don't really have that, but that's all right. So you can see those little dots. It's just it's cherry dust. How about that? Cherry dust. And then whatever saying you want, the ones that I have used for this is let's reconnect soon because that's very COVID related. Love ya, miss ya. You could do thinking of you, anything you want. I think on mine I'll do, I don't know. I decided to do You're Sweet. On your heart, this is just kind of a fun little thing. Because stems have that little edge at the end of the stem, I kind of make a little bit bigger. You don't need to do this, but I make a little bit bigger spot there in the middle where the stems go together. I'm not sure if you can see that. Again, that's not critical. You're sweet. Okay, and I want to see everybody's beautiful cherries because this one has shadow and highlights and all kinds of good stuff. Yay! Isn't it so fun? We all have the same thing and everybody's looks so different. That's so awesome. Beautiful job, ladies. Beautiful. Oh, very cute. Very nice. Awesome job. Okay, so if you want to take your mics off of mute. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, or did you like it? Would you like to do another one where we maybe worked on florals a little bit? I would call them watercolor doodle flowers.
Kathy, I think you did a great job, really great job, and I'd like to do more.
Well, thank you, Charlene. That's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not creative, but even I could do this.
Right. Everyone can do it.
I'm not creative, but I had a great time, and I actually feel like I can use one of these for practical reasons.
Right. And that's a bonus. And it's just fun. People, oh, and if you're giving it away, make sure I have a stamp that says this, but I want if you're giving away your card, I want you to write on the back, hand painted by.
Oh.
So they know you did that, okay? Let me take the spot.
Kathy, thank you so much. You made this so much fun and it was so simple. And I've been wanting to do something like this for some time. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, that's great. Well, I am really glad.
Thank you.
And you know, the idea is we're in very, very unusual times. So we have to think outside the box. How can we do things together? So
Yes.
this is a simple way to do it. I paint all the time. I'm not great at it, but I enjoy the process. So I have no issues now that I know how to rig it up, because I made my son explain it to me. So I have no problems doing another one. And I want to do a plug though, and then I want to get more feedback if anybody has more feedback.
Please, let's do this again. I'm not creative either. This is Leticia in Sacramento. And with the current weather that we have outside right now, and being truly stuck in the house, this is such a great positive experience. So thank you.
Oh, great. I am really glad.
Kathy, from the Greater Friendship Force of Orlando, and would just thoroughly enjoy doing this and would love to do the florals.
Okay, great. That's very encouraging.
Yeah, I would love to do flowers too. I think that would be fun.
I would too.
Thank you so much. This is Sandra from Charleston, West Virginia Friendship Force. I actually am an artist, but I needed this little push today to get me to start painting again, which I'd kind of gotten the doldrums, and hopefully this will get me out of them.
Well, good.
And I would love to do the florals.
Good. Well, I also want to mention, and I said this earlier, but not everyone had joined, that in October, I haven't picked the date. It'll be the same time though, Saturday at 11. I plan to do a soups and stews Zoom. And I will probably demo 2 different soups, and then I'll have recipes for, you know, probably a few more. But what I would love from that group, if you decide that's something you're interested in, is for you to send a recipe ahead of time. I'll say all of that in the sign up registration page, but I'd love to have recipes from all over Friendship Force, and then I'll compile it and send it out to everyone. So I've done several food related Zooms, and they're a lot of fun. I am not a chef, but I like to make healthy food. And so the recipes for me will be really healthy. So I'm encouraging each one of you to watch for that one coming up in October. Plus Friendship Force International has lots of great Zooms. India, I think, is Monday. They have, you know, lots and lots that you can just look at on their blog and just sign up and see. None of us are professionals doing this, but we're all in it together and we're spending time together, and that's important, especially during this time. Anybody else have any comments? I'm going to stop the recording.
Well, I really appreciated it.